The rumblings of a potential Demon's Souls remake has surfaced once again as Bluepoint Games have updated their website, and even if it's not a Demon's Souls remake, the guys over at Austin seem to be prepping up a PlayStation 5 project that is going to be one for the ages, as they are aiming to define the visual benchmark for next gen. We'll talk all about that and I'll give you guys my input. Also, we have an update on PlayStation 4 sales numbers, and they have reached a very big milestone. They already cracked 100 million units, but now they have surpassed some of the best-selling consoles of all time, and that's a huge milestone. And also, we have a very interesting study claiming that PlayStation fans are the most brand loyal, and heading into next generation, this is some very interesting information that I want to go over at the end of this video. Alright, first up, let's talk Bluepoint Games and what they're working on. Remake Masters Bluepoint Games is talking a very big game when it comes to their PlayStation 5 title, as highlighted by Push Square. A refresh of their website noted the developer is aiming to, quote, define the visual benchmark for the next generation of gaming hardware. Now, if you guys aren't aware, Bluepoint Games already said that they're working on a PlayStation 5 title. I believe it's a PS5 exclusive, and they usually are the guys that do major remakes. They put out Uncharted the Nathan Drake collection, but more recently they put out Shadow of the Colossus remake on PS4, and that was more so a remake. Remasters and remake are two starkly different things. The Uncharted Nathan Drake collection, obviously a trilogy of remasters there. However, the Shadow of the Colossus remake, that was a full-on remake on the PlayStation 4, built ground up for the hardware of the PS4, and they did a phenomenal job with that game. And I feel like that was the game that really let us know that Bluepoint Games is a top-tier studio capable of incredible things. And Sony probably took notice as well, as now Bluepoint Games is talking with them about a PlayStation 5 title, and it's probably pretty deep in development. The quote again has surfaced by the way of a refresh of Bluepoint Games' website, where it makes the case to bring budding developers under its wing. From discussing its previous projects, again, Shadow of the Colossus, Uncharted Nathan Drake collection, they are working on this brand new game, and if it's a Demon's Souls remake and you can get it on the launch for the PlayStation 5, that would be absolutely massive. I cannot understate how big that would be for PlayStation 5 and how big of a coup that would be for Sony to get a Demon's Souls remake as an exclusive launch title. Because while it's great to have a game like Horizon 2, Demon's Souls and Souls in general, what that offers is an absolutely rabid fan base. Horizon, people love Horizon, people think it's an awesome game, but it doesn't have that rabid fan base that Souls does. Souls has a ridiculously hardcore audience, and the people that do play Souls absolutely adore those games, and I guarantee you a large majority of them would be sold on the PS5 with a Demon's Souls remake. That's not just a remaster, but a full-on remake for the PlayStation 5. That would be huge for Sony, and I think that would be a legit system seller. And then you pair that with a sequel to Horizon or some sort of other major exclusive, and I really think they've got a recipe for success. What I expect out of the PlayStation 5 on launch is two major exclusives. With the PlayStation 4, you really had one major exclusive in Killzone Shadowfall. We like to forget about Knack over here, but there was also Resogun and things like that. But I think heading into this generation, everybody has realized, all of these console manufacturers have realized that the selling point is high-quality games and exclusive. Sony has always been all about that, but now more so than ever, it's really going to be the games that sell people on these consoles, especially if they are $500. Yeah, you can have great visuals, you can have all that kind of stuff. You can have a super fast solid-state drive, all that stuff is great, but the thing that's going to separate PlayStation 5 from the pack is high-quality exclusives, and a Demon's Souls remake on the PlayStation 5, that would be absolutely massive. And then you throw in Horizon 2, maybe one other smaller exclusive by a Japan studio, or somebody to that effect, and that would be pretty major. There was also rumblings about Sony Santa Monica possibly working on a new IP. Obviously, those are the guys behind God of War. And while I don't expect that we're going to get God of War 2 for the PS5 launch, maybe Santa Monica had been working on something in the background. Whatever the case may be, Bluepoint Games is obviously working on something major for the PlayStation 5, and if it's a Demon's Souls remake as a launch title, that would be colossally huge for Sony and a huge coup by them. Otherwise, what other remake could they really be bringing to the table? Every indication has been towards a Demon's Souls remake, and that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, you could do something off the wall like a Legend of Dragoon, and I would absolutely love that, but I think from a Sony standpoint, something like Demon's Souls would be much bigger than Legend of Dragoon. As much as I've been championing that campaign, I don't think a Legend of Dragoon remake would be quite as big as a Demon's Souls remake, but we'll let you guys know as soon as we hear more about Bluepoint Games' next title, and I could very well see this being announced as a part of the PlayStation 5 reveal event that is currently rumored for February 5th, so we'll see how that pans out. Alright, moving on from that, PlayStation 5 is still a ways away. PlayStation 4 is still in the now, and it has just reached a major milestone. As pointed out on Reddit, cracking 106 million units sold. That puts it ahead of the original PlayStation as well as the Nintendo Wii for lifetime sales. Now, if you guys remember how rabid people were to get Nintendo Wiis, that might actually surprise you a little bit. But the very interesting thing about the Nintendo Wii was that it had that year or two where it was super in and everybody wanted to get one. However, then it kind of fizzled out. You noticed that a lot of people weren't buying a lot of games for them, and people were kind of just buying the Wii, got Wii Sports, and then a lot of people would let it collect dust, even though there were some great games like Metroid Prime 3, Smash, of course, all the Nintendo games that you know and love. But yeah, the Wii did fizzle out after a little while, but the PlayStation 4 reaching 106 million units sold is huge. That is an astronomically high number, given the fact that heading into this generation, a lot of people were thinking console gaming is dying out, mobile gaming is the future. PS4 was going to be the last traditional PlayStation console. I swear to God that those were regular imperatives a lot of people were throwing out. Obviously, that didn't turn out to be the case, as PlayStation 4 has sold much more than PlayStation 3. PS3's lifetime sales are at 88 million, and PlayStation 4 still has room to grow, you know, hit 110, 115, even 120 million units sold. That would be pretty major if it could crack 120 million, because that would actually put it ahead of the Game Boy and Game Boy Color, so that would be a major milestone as well. But great to see the PlayStation 4 sell this well. We'll see how the PlayStation 5 is received next generation. I think there's gonna be a lot of competition, so we'll ultimately see how that turns out. And what's interesting about the PS4 sales that you do have to mention, unlike a lot of other platforms where like the Game Boy Color, and Nintendo DS even, they don't have a direct competitor where there's a lot of game crossover. Yeah, the DS had the PSP, but again, there's not a ton of game crossover there. With the PlayStation 4, of course, you have the Xbox One, and third-party games crossover all the time, so the majority of people usually end up buying one or the other, the PS4 or Xbox One. Xbox One itself has done pretty well at 41 million units. I know that's a far cry from the PS4, but 41 million is nothing to scoff at. That is still a very impressive number, and that makes the PlayStation 4's 106 million even that much more impressive. Alright, and lastly, kind of parlaying on the fact of sales, a study is claiming that PlayStation fans are the most brand loyal when it comes to, well, their brand. A recent study conducted by best SEO companies determined that Sony fans were more loyal than those of other gaming platforms. The site conducted a survey of over 1,000 people to determine what brands they were loyal to, and the frontrunners included McDonald's, Android, Nike, and PlayStation. I can definitely see the Android fandom. 40.7% of the people in the survey chose the PlayStation brand, which was followed by Xbox at 31% and Nintendo at 30.4%. Gaming PC and gaming laptops were separate entities with 14.7% and 8.6% respectively, and Google Stadia didn't even make the cut. Obviously, a new product like that probably isn't going to make the cut that quickly. However, this doesn't surprise me all too much. When you look at PlayStation fans, and I myself am one of them, they are absolutely rabid about PlayStation, but for good reason. I mean, you look at the games on PlayStation, you look at the quality the platform offers, there's a lot of reason to be a rabid fan of PlayStation, and why that's so important is going into next generation, especially with backwards compatibility being a big thing. I think brand loyalty is going to play a big factor in terms of which console people end up getting, because the majority of people are not going to buy both consoles, and if they have to pick one, if backwards compatibility is a thing and you have all of these PlayStation 4 games you already bought and they're playable on the PS5, and PS5 has this great slew of launch titles, while Xbox Series X also has some great launch titles, I think people will ultimately go with the PlayStation 5 just because of brand loyalty and elements like that. And that would give PlayStation 5 a big advantage right out of the gate. It's something interesting to talk about, but you even read online and you see what some PlayStation fans say. Sometimes they go a little bit over the top. However, it's obvious to see that they have immense fandom for their platform, and hey, that's really good for Sony, because that means people are invested into PlayStation. They're invested into this ecosystem, and they want to continue the journey, so to speak, with PlayStation 5. And given the fact that a lot of these games that we're going to get are going to be follow-up, sequel, Horizon 2, God of War 2, all of these games are going to be big selling points. And if you already have that brand loyalty established with a large portion of consumers, well, that's only going to build and build. Remember when I talked about sales? 106 million for PlayStation 4, 41 million for Xbox One, and you're talking about a large portion of the PS4 audience is incredibly attached to that platform and brand. Well, that's directly going to parlay into the success of the PlayStation 4 as well. So I think PlayStation has a huge leg up on Xbox right now. Right now, Xbox is in the news cycle because they've revealed a lot of information about the Series X, but ultimately, I think because of that brand loyalty, because of that had attachment to all of these franchises, and Microsoft really having a hard time establishing high-quality franchises outside of Halo and Gears, and they've milked those to the ground. I think PlayStation is going to have a huge advantage, at least in the initial portion. These things can change very, very quickly. You saw it with the 360 and the PlayStation 3. The 360 was ahead for a long time, a lot of bad decision making, and then the Xbox One fell behind the PlayStation 4 like crazy. I think Sony is smart enough to realize, hey, let's not do things like that. And a lot of console manufacturers and publishers can take a look at what Microsoft did with the Xbox One initially and be like, okay, let's not do that. But that's going to conclude this video. Again, Bluepoint Games' PlayStation 5 project is aiming to define the visual benchmark for next gen. PlayStation 4 reaches a pretty big milestone as it has surpassed the PlayStation 1 and Nintendo Wii in sales, and a study claims that PlayStation fans are the most brand loyal to their products. Rather interesting, especially heading into next generation. That's going to conclude this video. Sound off with all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.